Whether we are just getting started making art, or we have been doing it for a long time, there is a tendency to compare oneself to other artists. It can be a useful tool at times. It can give you a useful metric or standard, something to meet or exceed. But it is also possible for that tendency to fall out of balance, to look at another artist who you admire, who's got something or has done something that you want, something you don't have that they've achieved or they can do, and say they're so much further along than me, I could never do that. To be fair, there may be things they can do that you could never do, but it is also important to remember that there are things you could do that they could never do. There's a useful emotional tool that I have employed on many occasions to tremendous effect that is as simple as just thinking. Time spent on one thing is time not spent on something else. If you're a guitar player and you spend all your time shredding, just learning to rip at 1,000,000 miles an hour, that's an incredible capability. That's always impressive to see. But that is time perhaps not spent on working on something like chord melodies or being a competent jazz rhythm guitar player. Larry Carlton, who recorded with Steely Dan several times, is not going to get a call from Morbid Angel. It doesn't mean that Larry Carlton couldn't train himself to learn that material. Someone like Larry Carlton could probably train himself to learn Morbid Angel's material and ultimately play it. John Mayer could play for Deicide if he practiced hard enough. It's less a matter of whether or not they have the intrinsic capability to do the work. It's what work have you already done. Time spent on one thing is time not spent on another thing. My all-time favorite drummer, Dennis Chambers, would have to practice like hell to play for Slayer. And again, just flipping it to the other side once more, it's worthy of examination that Tommy Lee from Motley Crue was never called for a gig by Chick Corea. Tommy Lee was kickstarting his heart, and Chick Corea was not doing that, at least not in the same way. The artists that we admire them because they have done something that is worthy of that admiration. They've created something, or they've cultivated a level of ability, or they have a unique insight that is worth being excited by, being motivated and inspired by. But they're not infallible. They're not invulnerable. Things that they've spent their time on means that there's an endless laundry list of other skills that they did not cultivate. And I find that thinking this way is another tool that we can use as creatives to break down the walls and barriers between us and the people who inspire us.